They call him one time for a reason, but don't get it twisted. Keith Thurman was once the man, the fighter who called out Mayweather, who took on young, hungry lions like Danny Garcia and Sean Porter when no one else would. A charismatic star, sharp with his words, sharp with his fists, a student of the game with an IQ that had him outthinking champions and outshining contenders. Injuries slowed him down, marriage pulled him away, and the spotlight seemed to fade. But stars like Thurman don't die out, they reload. He's back now, with fire in his eyes and dynamite in his fist, ready to remind the world why he shook boxing to its core. Fundora may be the towering inferno, but Thurman's the fireman, and this time, he's just not putting out flames, he's burning his name back into boxing history. Let's break it down. Let's not forget, Thurman has real knockout power. They didn't give him the name one time for nothing. In his prime, he was dropping guys left and right, and even now the power is still there. Fundora's reckless pressure, that's like a magnet pulling him right into Thurman's counter. And if Thurman lands clean, it could be lights out. Ask the heavy bags he broke, ask the sparring partners who couldn't finish the rounds, the power is real. Thurman isn't soft, he isn't fragile, he's cut from the old school cloth. The type of fighter who studied tapes, learns the craft, and brings that dog mentality into the ring. Fundora has youth and height, but Thurman has the mentality that says, I've been here before, I know how to win when it matters the most. That edge can be measured on paper. Thurman's more than power. He's a student of the game. His footwork, his traps, his timing is all built from years of high-level chess matches. He knows when to box, he knows when to bang, when to lure you in, and when to explode. Fundora may throw more punches, but Thurman throws smarter punches. And that's what separates a brawler from a true craftsman. This is the path. Thurman frustrates Fundora with movement early, lets him walk into feints, baits him with angles, and then makes him pay with that one-time power shot. Boom! Fundora's size becomes a weakness, and the movement forces him to reset over and over again. That's when Thurman strikes, not just with punches, but with experience, IQ, and that old school grit. This isn't just a fight. It's a chance for Keith Thurman to remind the world why they call him one time. Fundora better come correct, because one mistake could end his night. Yeah. Drop your thoughts in the comments. It's Thurman.
I'm feeling that Keith Thurman hype right now. You know why? Because they talk the talk. What? They talk the talk. We bring the facts. The hype so loud, you shake the stats. So not, man. Just want to come out and show you guys some love out here on this Friday afternoon. Just looking into this Devin Haney matchup. And I'm looking into the Keith Thurman matchup. I wanted to see what matchups you guys got in mind. Because right now, we're working with a lot right now. I feel like we have a lot of things going on right now for boxing, and it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good for the sport, you know. So talk to me. What's up? What's your plans for Friday? You got any fights coming up that you want to talk about and discuss? I'm here for that. You want to see the video I did for Terrence Bud Crawford? All right, here it goes.
Might be the biggest upset since Ali listing, and I was on the wrong side of it. Stop what you're doing right now, because what we just witnessed in boxing history is bigger than any prediction, any breakdown, and any debate. I gotta admit it, I was wrong. And I'm happy I was wrong, because if I had been right, this victory wouldn't feel nearly as legendary. Bud Crawford just defied old boxing logic. walked into the ring with a living legend like Canelo Alvarez and flipped the script the world thought was written in stone. That's why this moment is so special, and why we gotta give Bud his flowers. Think about it. Canelo Alvarez isn't just another name. He's a generational icon, a full-weight world champion, a first ballot Hall of Famer who's walked through every style, every challenge, every test. For Bud Crawford to move up and take that crown, that's just not a fight. That's a rewriting of history. And the significance lies in the doubt. The size, the logic, the history books, everything said it couldn't be done. But Bud went in there and threw all of it away. This is how it must have felt to watch Muhammad Ali shock the world against Sonny Liston. When the impossible suddenly becomes reality. These are the nights that remind us why boxing stays legendary. So today I got no problem giving Bud Crawford his flowers. Too often in boxing we wait until fighters are done to show love. But this is history, and it deserves to be celebrated right now. In the spirit of giving flowers while they're here, we recently lost Ricky Hatton, a true warrior and icon. It's a reminder of how fleeting this life and sport can be, and how important it is to honor greatness in the moment. Shout out to Boxing Hype 456 family.
Lucky winner.
We witnessed greatness together, and some of y'all even walked away with an autographed glove from legends like Mike Tyson and Roberto Duran on this same legendary night. And this is just the start. More giveaways are coming soon. Next legend up, Floyd Mayweather. Make sure you subscribe to the Hype. Drop your thoughts in the comments. And let's keep this energy alive. Because this is what makes boxing the greatest sport in the world. The passion, the legacy.
Right. That was my take on the Crawford versus Canelo. Now I'm going to get to the nitty-gritty of it. What did we see Saturday? Did we see Terrence outdo Canelo, or did we see a version of Canelo that was already past his prime? That's really the question we have to ask ourselves. Did we see Terrence Crawford be so great that he just beat up Canelo, or did we see Canelo pretty much slow down and be past his prime where he couldn't really get up to that second gear and make it a fight? First thing I want to say, we got to give Terrence his flowers for even taking the fight. It's important to challenge yourself at that level, and his resume doesn't really have those names, so it was a great move by his team to actually move on and take that fight on. Now, was that the best Canelo Alvarez? You tell me. Was that the best Canelo Alvarez? I'll wait. This was Canelo. This was Canelo after losing to Crawford. Check this out. This is when you know you got the right one. If they continue for me, you made $150 million to fight. But guess what? You still got the family. Like the daughter, the crowd starts clapping. You don't really see that often, at that level. Usually you get girls that are gold diggers. But, I want to show the video again, man. This is when you know you won in life. Having real people by you, real family. Wifey right there holding it down. hype right there. Daughter hugging you. What do you guys thoughts? What do you guys thoughts on the fight? What do you thought about the Canelo fight? I gave Crawford his flowers already, for those who were asking.
Respect. Subscribe to the hype. Boxing Hype 456. This might be the biggest upset since Ali listing, and I was on the wrong side of it. Stop what you're doing right now, because what we just witnessed in boxing history is bigger than any prediction, any breakdown, and any debate. I gotta admit it, I was wrong. And I'm happy I was wrong. Because if I had been right, this victory wouldn't feel nearly as legendary.
What do you guys think?
Bud Crawford just defied old boxing logic. Walked into the ring with a living legend like Canelo Alvarez and flipped the script the world thought was written in stone. That's why this moment is so special and why we gotta give Bud his flowers. Think about it. Canelo Alvarez isn't just another name. He's a generational icon, a full-weight world champion, a first ballot Hall of Famer who's walked through every style, every challenge, every test. For Bud Crawford to move up and take that crown, that's just not a fight. That's a rewriting of history. And the significance lies in the doubt. The size, the logic, the history books, everything said it couldn't be done. But Bud went in there and threw all of it away. This is how it must have felt to watch Muhammad Ali shock the world against Sonny Liston. When the impossible suddenly becomes reality. These are the nights that remind us why boxing stays legendary. So today I got no problem giving Bud Crawford his flowers. Too often in boxing we wait until fighters are done to show love. But this is history, and it deserves to be celebrated right now. In the spirit of giving flowers while they're here, we recently lost Ricky Hatton, a true warrior and icon. It's a reminder of how fleeting this life and sport can be, and how important it is to honor greatness in the moment. Shout out to Boxing Hype 456 family. We witnessed greatness together, and some of y'all even walked away with an autographed glove from legends like Mike Tyson and Roberto Duran on this same legendary night. And this is just the start. More giveaways are coming soon. Next legend up, Floyd Mayweather. Make sure you subscribe to the hype. Drop your thoughts in the comments. And let's keep this energy alive. Because this is what makes boxing the greatest sport in the world. The passion, the legacy, and respect. Subscribe to the hype. Boxing Hype 456.
They talk the talk. We bring the facts. The hype so loud, you shake the stats. That was a great event last Saturday. We had a great time. I gave out those 2 gloves, the Mike Tyson glove to the guy in Poland, Widow, all the way in Poland. I had to ship that out to you. It's more expensive than what you think. And then we had to give that one out to one of the guys over here in New Jersey. He got the Roberto Duran. It was an easy ship. It was fast. He already got his glove. The other guy should be getting his glove hopefully within the next 4 or 5 days. What do we have to say? We have to say a lot of things about this fight. I want to say that Terence Crawford definitely boxed perfectly. He moved in the best possible manner against someone like Canelo. He was not a stationary target, which is great, because he was able to capitalize on his movement. Let me see. Let's check out the Keith Thurman video.
To shock the world with a vintage performance? Or does the John... They call him one time for a reason. But don't get it twisted. Keith Thurman was once the man. The fighter who called out Mayweather. Who took on young, hungry lions like Danny Garcia and Sean Porter when no one else would. A charismatic star. Sharp with his words. Sharp with his fists. A student of the game with an IQ that had him outthinking champions and outshining contenders. Injuries slowed him down, marriage pulled him away, and the spotlight seemed to fade. But stars like Thurman don't die out. They reload. He's back now, with fire in his eyes and dynamite in his fist, ready to remind the world why he shook boxing to its core. Fundora may be the towering inferno, but Thurman's the fireman. And this time, he's just not putting out flames. He's burning his name back into boxing history. Let's break it down. Let's not forget, Thurman has real knockout power. They didn't give him the name one time for nothing. In his prime, he was dropping guys left and right. And even now, the power is still there. Fundora's reckless pressure, that's like a magnet pulling him right into Thurman's counters. And if Thurman lands clean, it could be lights out. Ask the heavy bags he broke, ask the sparring partners who couldn't finish the rounds. The power is real. Thurman isn't soft. He isn't fragile. He's cut from the old school cloth. The type of fighter who studied tapes, learns the craft, and brings that dog mentality into the ring. Fundora has youth and height, but Thurman has the mentality that says, I've been here before. I know how to win when it matters the most. That edge can be measured on paper. Thurman's more than power. He's a student of the game. His footwork, his traps, his timing is all built from years of high-level chess matches. He knows when to box, he knows when to bang, when to lure you in, and when to explode. Fundora may throw more punches, but Thurman throws smarter punches. And that's what separates a brawler from a true craftsman. This is the path. Thurman frustrates Fundora with movement early, lets him walk into feints, baits him with angles, and then makes him pay with that one-time power shot. Boom! Fundora's size becomes a weakness, and the movement forces him to reset over and over again. That's when Thurman strikes, not just with punches, but with experience, IQ, and that old school grit. This isn't just a fight. It's a chance for Keith Thurman to remind the world why they call him one time. Fundora better come correct, because one mistake could end his night. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Is Thurman about to shock the world with a vintage performance? Or does the giant keep rolling? Subscribe to the hype and ride with me, because this fight could flip the whole script on the 154 division. Boxing Hype 456. We don't just talk boxing, we live it. They talk the talk, we bring the facts. The hype's so loud, it shakes the stats. Subscribe to the hype, Boxing Hype 456.
That's Keith Thurman back. Keith Thurman's coming back now. I have a big upset riding on this one. I think he has a better IQ. I think he has the better legs. And I think that he's more explosive than Fundora. Fundora does have the reach and height, but I think he walks forward. He throws a lot of punches, and he's going to be there to be hit for the fact that he's a violent puncher. Now, Thurman must not stand in one spot. He likes to use his legs. He's really fresh because he hasn't fought often. And I'm starting to see how these older guys, as long as they don't fight, they're still able to remain fresh. Like, for example, Terrence Crawford, he fought once a year for the last 6 years. So you didn't see that wear and tear in the Canelo fight. While Canelo was fighting twice a year for the last 10 years, he got 20 fights. Easily in the bank. That's sparring, that's training, that's running, and the miles go up on the engine. Ryan got an offer for 20 M's. I got Norman by early KO. Devin, if it goes to the decision, I got Fundora. He's a bit too big. Yeah, he's too big, but I feel like he doesn't have the right IQ to beat Thurman. Think about it. Thurman he's been there, like he has that old school kind of like grit. I went through it the old school way. He's a very smart, charismatic student of the game type of guy. You could see he read books. You could tell that he's a thinker, and I think he could definitely figure out the puzzle. Norman KO early. I think if Norman doesn't knock out Devin Haney, it's because Devin Haney ran the whole entire fight. If Devin Haney chooses to engage in a fight, then you should be able to see Norman hurt him. Because I don't know if you noticed, but I'll pull it up right now. He's been working. He's been working, Thurman. I mean Norman. Where is it? Where? Uh, no. Let me see. Okay. Okay. Check this out. You're gonna go over here. Oh, this is Devin Haney. You see that slip? You see that movement? You see that movement? You see that movement? I don't think you guys can see it. Are you guys seeing? Are you guys seeing my screen or no? Honestly, real talk, Fedora got rocked in his last fight. I think it's possible Fedora might get stopped. I don't know if Thurman has it in him still, though. I think Thurman is on a crazy run right now because think about it. He was the man at one time. He was the guy that fought Manny Pacquiao. He was the guy calling out Mayweather. He was, one time he was like, the person that everybody wanted to interview, the person that everybody wanted to kind of like see what's up with him. And all of a sudden, the guy gets hurt, he gets married, and we just lose. It's like the spotlight just fades, like literally fades, and then it doesn't help that PVC. It doesn't help that PVC has been slowing down. You know, if PVC would have been still rocking at a heavy, operating at a high level, we could still see him, but it's like everything has really shut down. I want him to really defeat Fundora. If we could get Keith Thurman to defeat Fundora, then he could probably operate with Turkey, and we could see him in some big fights against Virgil Ortiz, Boot Ennis, hey, maybe even Crawford at this point. I know Crawford said he was going to fight at 160, but I'm pretty sure Thurman could make 160 easily. If the fight was offered. People see Bro as a clown now. Thurman. Unfortunately, he lost a lot of his reputation. Dude, but he's been look. He fought recently this year. He was trying to get the Tim Tissot fight. He couldn't get that. He got hurt. He fought this year, knocked the guy out. He did fought Mario Barrios, knocked him out. So he still has some good performances. Now he just needs a major name, and Fundora will definitely do it. It will make him a champion 154. And then from there, I think he could start calling out some names. There's a lot of fights out there that could be made with Keith Thurman, and he doesn't have that many mileage on the tank. He hasn't been fighting like that, so we could make some good matchups with him at 154 and 160. It depends on where you want to see him at. I want to see him take the biggest risk there is. If you could throw him in there with Crawford, that'd be great. If you could throw him in there with young lion like Virgil Ortiz, that'd be great because he's gonna press him. And the fact that he didn't fight Spence, that's the only thing. That's the only blemish that you could really say about Thurman. He didn't fight Spence when he had a chance. Thoughts on Crawford? I honestly think he gets stopped by anyone hungrier than Canelo. Canelo just hasn't wanted it so long, but his skill is so good. He kept beating people. He kept beating up people that were slow and heavy. Yeah, Canelo dude had $1 million watch on his wrist. He makes too much money. He said he should be a billionaire by the end of 2025. So Canelo, the same thing happened with Tank. You once you lose that hunger, you really don't go for the kill. Even when he was beating up guys like Ryder, and he was beating up guys like Berlanga, and he was beating up guys like Munguia, he'll drop them, and he wouldn't go for the kill. If you're not going to go for the kill, that means you don't have that dog in you anymore. That savage, that what makes you a fighter, what makes you a person that sees blood. You smell blood, you go out for the kill. He definitely doesn't have that anymore. I think Canelo's definitely past his prime, by the way. So many training camps, so much wear and tear. I don't see. I think Virgil has Crawford has been avoiding Virgil since 147, and he's been avoiding also Boots in 147. I think anyone who's young and has fresh legs could give Crawford um a run for his money. You know, he did for the Drain Errol Spence. He did for the a Canelo that was past his prime. But I would love to see him in there with fresher legs. I don't want to see him in there with Benavidez. I think Benavidez is too big, to be honest, and it's not really fair for Crawford to be fighting Benavidez. But I would love to see him against a fresher young guys, like Virgil or Boots. That'd be a great fight for either guy. But a great fight for Bud because when he did for Madrimov, who was young, it looked different. He had fresh legs. Madrimov can be beaten so badly, but Virgil, what's going to happen to Crawford? Well, Crawford is definitely going to have to adjust. And the thing about the difference between Virgil and Canelo is Canelo doesn't throw combination like Virgil, and Virgil has really really good like defense as well. I think Virgil could really make it a fight. The fight that we were expecting last week with Canelo, that will be the fight that Virgil will give Crawford because Virgil's better legs, faster on his feet, throws combinations, and stay on top of you all night long, just being on you. So I'm expecting Virgil to do a Madrimov number on him. It's crazy how they're comparing Virgil to Floyd. Crawford got rocked a couple times. Floyd didn't. Floyd didn't when he fought Canelo. Well, Floyd beat 23 champions. That's it. He beat double the amount of champions that Bud has fought. Before the Canelo fight, he had 11 champions. Now it's 12. So all his entire life, he only fought 12 champions. Mayweather fought 23. He has a better resume because a lot of the guys that Bud fought prior to Spence were people that were not champions. They were just good fighters who had a decent record, but then we're not world champions. All the world champions were at PBC. So he was fighting the guys, prospects and guys who were trying to get in the rankings for a title shot. That's the guys that he was fighting. So, to compare him to Floyd with a weak resume is it wouldn't be fair. Is he a great fighter? I think he's a great fighter, but he has to stick around a little bit more and kind of cement himself because being a Drain Errol Spence and beating a past his prime Canelo is not gonna rush me to be like, oh, this is the best fight I've ever seen. You're gonna have to give me a little more. I think it's only right that we expect a little more from him. I think he knows that. I mean, for him, he felt like he accomplished enough in his career. But he beat the guys like Jeff Horn, Hank Lundy, these guys, Mean Machine. Like those guys are not necessarily the best competition out there, dude. The thing with Virgil and Crawford, it goes beyond the fighters, Bomac. Both know each other well, so I don't know how they would be going against each other. I think it'll be a good fight. I think it'll be a great fight. I think that's not the first time Bomac and Robert go. Like you said, they fought each other. I think if I'm not mistaken, Virgil fought one of Bomac guys at 140, 147 pounds. What was that guy's name? He stopped him. Since from my tongue. the tall linky guy. I forgot his name. He was a real good fighter. But yeah, Robert Garcia and Bomac went up a lot. And it's not like unanimous on either side. They both have beaten each other multiple times. And again, some styles prevail more than the other depending on the athlete. But Crawford is Bomac stuff for real, so it'd be crazy. Well, Bomac, been around us since he was a kid, and they have a good chemistry going on. The only thing I didn't like about the last training camp, it was like he went from having 3 coaches to having like 6. I've never seen anything like that before. I've never seen a fighter who has 6 coaches. Um, I feel like there's a lot of people around Crawford now who's there to milk him for his money and trying to get a check when they couldn't, because they can't get a check anywhere else. So it's unfortunate, but it happens to everybody. Look at Mike Tyson. He lost $300 million back in the '80s for being around the wrong people. So hey, if you don't know how to manage your money well, if you don't know who's out there being a gold digger or trying to, not from a female perspective, from a professional perspective, then you could definitely land in the wrong hands and somebody could come and take advantage of you. To have 6 coaches is ridiculous. I mean, 3 is okay. That was a lot. Usually you have a head coach, you have assistant coaches, but to have 3 head coaches and now 6, everybody's like just trying to get in so you can get a part of that big check. It's $50 million at the end of the day. $50 million could go a long way, when you have so many people to, spread that out. So, what do you think about everybody calling Crawford the GOAT? You guys agree? If you agree Crawford the GOAT, let me know. Put it right here. Let me see the emoji. Or you feel like he still need a little bit more left to prove? Because there's multiple ways you could look at this, And I don't want to be the devil's advocate, but I mean, you have to analyze things and you have to put things in perspective. I'm alright with that idea until Crawford gets beat, but I don't think Crawford doesn't pose a threat to anyone right now. I think his ass is overrated. He beat a Washington and suddenly everyone's calling him the best. I don't think he's ass, but I do believe he beat a wash Nello. I don't think he has beaten anyone. Like, look at his best wins: Drain, Errol Spence, and a past his prime Canelo. I would like to see him against someone who's young and fresher. That's it. I don't want to see him against Benavidez because then people are gonna say he's too big. Because Benavidez is young, big, volume puncher, fast, strong. He'll kill Crawford, as you could obviously see that. But yeah, against Virgil and the smaller guys at 150, 160, that would be a good fight, especially if they're young. I want to see him against a young talent. Crawford is not better than Tyson, Ali, Hagler, Sugar Ray, even Chavez. He doesn't have the resume. That's gonna be always the thing that's gonna be always in hunting. If you don't have the resume, then it's always gonna be up for debate. It's a lot of people already like. You know what? What it was too. I think Max Kellerman has something to do with that because he was like, "You're the GOAT of this era." He pretty much like self-proclaimed his own opinion on everybody else. When there's 41 million people watching, so obviously you're gonna have some people that are gonna be like, "See, they call him the GOAT of the era." They're gonna run with that narrative without really analyzing his resume. He did re-sign with Top Rank. So if he never would have re-signed with Top Rank, we could have seen him against Danny Garcia. We could have seen him against Keith Thurman. We could have seen him against all the guys at PBC. But he didn't. He re-signed with Top Rank. So we didn't see any of that. And he knew exactly what would that mean. What would happen when you do such thing. Max is lame. He talks too much for it. Dude, I didn't like the fact that he was trying to downplay boxing, number one. He comes back and he's over here. I liked the guy before, like the old Max Kellerman, like the HBO guy. But this new Max Kellerman is out of touch. He's out of touch, and he's saying some disrespectful stuff about boxing and stuff. Yeah, they did want Crawford to win. Um, Turkey. But the thing about, and I'm gonna be honest, the thing about Crawford is he doesn't bring money into boxing. What? He's not a superstar. At the end of the day, people were there to see Canelo beat up Crawford, not the other way around. Yeah, he's definitely getting a check from Turkey. But again, like I was saying, going back to that place has 74,000 people. I believe it was 74,432 people in the stands. Who do you think they were there for? Hmm? Who do you think they were there for? They were not there for Crawford. They were there to see Canelo beat up on Crawford. That's what was happening. For 30 M's, yeah. Well, Dana White, you know that there was a poster that just came out. Dana White paid all his fighters 210 million. It was 210 million divided by every single fighter that was on the card, compared to Canelo and Crawford, who made 200 million. So one boxing card beat every single pay for the whole year for UFC combined. Every single pay for the whole year as of now is 210 million. One boxing card, Canelo and Crawford, they each made a combined 200 million. That means that Dana White is paying UFC fighters with gas money. Dana White is paying UFC fighters with gas money. You heard it here first. Canelo's the face of boxing. He fights for 100. Dude made 150 million in 36 minutes. And guess what? He has two more fights with Turkey. Turkey went to visit him to make sure, because you want to make sure that, because once, I don't know if you guys know, once you retire, the contract is void. You don't have to follow your contract obligations anymore. He does have two more fights with Turkey, and Turkey wanted to make sure that he wasn't going to retire. So now that he's not retiring, they could follow through with the 2026 fights for Canelo, which is always going to be in May for Cinco de Mayo, and it's going to be in September. After that, if I was Canelo, I said I retire, I fight Jake Paul for another 200 million, and now I made what, 500 million within the last year. Good way to ride into the sunset when you're 36 years old. Yeah, exactly. Take those two fights, make another 150, 150, that's 300, and then take the Jake Paul fight for 200 million, and cash out. Cash out, man. That's what Tank is doing. Tank's not even trying to fight his the rematch with Lamont. He said, you know what? I'm tired of this tough training camp. Why don't you have an easy training camp? I get more exposure because the Jake Paul fight, everybody's gonna see it. It'll be a spectacle, and cash out. If he gets broke a little bit in the future, he can always come back and fight another one, another tune up, and make a quick, $15 million, and call it a day. Cabo Rojo, right? You must be Puerto Rican, right? You talking about Cabo Rojo? I say Benavidez Crawford again, just for the bag. They can't make it. Dude, I want Turkey to offer Crawford $100 million for this fight, and he'll take it. And I know, like, I don't want to sound bitter, but I think Crawford would definitely lose. Because Benavidez' style, you don't. It's not that many times you have a guy who throws a lot of punches, a violent puncher. He's like a big Manny Pacquiao, right? But he is really hard to the body. He punches really, really hard. He's fast. He throws combinations, and he's hard. He's a hard person to deal with because of his frame. He's a big dude, and I think Crawford will have a lot of problems dealing with Benavidez. It will be like a senior in high school beating up on a freshman. That's how it would look like. Oh, Cabo, Mexico. Okay, okay. I thought you were talking about Cabo Rojo in Puerto Rico. Yeah, man. I feel like Canelo has 2 fights left, and after that he should retire. 21-year career. He fought everybody from Mayweather to Triple G to Kovalev to Bivol. I mean, he literally fought every single big star there was. What big star Canelo didn't fight? I think it was Benavidez, the only one that he didn't fight. He fought every single big star there is in the game. He didn't leave anyone out. Even the Charlo brothers, who was everybody was beasting for him to get in there with. You saw how Canelo was with his wifey after the loss. I'm gonna tell you guys how he won in life. Yeah, go list. This is how you know how you win in life. When you got wifey out here in front of everybody hugging you, then you know everything's gonna be alright. You got your daughter here by your side hugging you. This is how you know you won in life. This is how you know you won in life right there. 150 M's. You still got your family with you. You got 2 more fights, and then you got the Jake Paul fight to retire. What else you want? That's why I'm Canelo's like part of the old generation now. We have new generational fighters coming up now. We have Abdullah Mason. We have, Shakur Stevenson. You have Tank. You have those guys, Teofimo Lopez. You have that generation, Ryan Garcia. That generation is the ones that are going to take over boxing now. They got to do what they got to do. They got to fight each other. They got to make some buzz. And I'm excited to see those guys fight each other. I want to see Teofimo fight all those guys. I want to see that kid that knocked out Tevin Farmer. What's his name? Kid Austin. I want to see that kid fight. I really wanted to see him fight Shakur Stevenson. I don't know how he got sick in Saudi Arabia. That kind of messed up my whole thing on him because that was that one card that I really was looking forward to seeing. We're talking about legacy over money. All that legacy ain't feeding his family, to be honest. I don't care what say on IG. I take 150 and dip. Hey, I'm trying to see what Austin's about. Yeah, Kid Austin. I don't know if you saw his last fight. Man, a lot of people had Tevin Farmer like schooling him, and it was like a big bite. It was a big jump, and the kid has dynamite. The kid is young as hell and is super explosive and fast. He got a crazy physique. A lot of people don't like him because his dad took so much crap, and honestly, every single dad in boxing is like that, except for who isn't like that. Every single dad in boxing like that. Bill Haney, Devin Haney, Kid Austin's dad, Floyd Schofield. Then you have the Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia is fighting, by the way. I don't know if you guys know. Danny Garcia is fighting again. And, it was a good press conference. The guy was calling him a quitter because he quit basically against Lara. Then his dad, Angel looks old, bro. Angel looks crazy old. Like, it's kind of scary. And who else? Bill Haney, Devin Haney. Dad. Who you got? Who you got here? I know who I got. Brian Norman Jr. His father's a fighter. Brian Norman Jr. Put it right here. A dad tournament. A dad boxing tournament. That would be dope. That would be dope. Cause Devin Haney's dad, Bill Haney talks so much crap. Bill Haney's dad. Teofimo's dad talks so much crap, bro. I'm telling you, man, those guys, they need like a reality show. I swear, if they were to put these guys on reality TV, like in the gym, they'll go over like the Kardashians. Because the type of drama and nonsense they talk about, they will definitely be more popular than the Kardashians. Haney beating the. Yo, you think Bill Haney could beat Teal's dad? Yeah, I got a feeling he could. But I don't think he could beat Brian Norman Jr. dad. Brian Norman Jr. dad is younger and stronger. You saw when that whole little thing came out in the, you know, a scuffle. You saw that scuffle. By the way, I'm giving away a Floyd Mayweather autograph photo for the next Tank Davis Jake Paul fight. You know, I couldn't do it in October because I have to obviously purchase it, and I'm building it up, saving up to actually be able to buy it and give it to you guys. So that's gonna be a nice giveaway. You guys should, jump on that because it's gonna be free, and it's the GOAT, one of the GOATs at least. There's so many GOATs right now, This is like the LeBron James versus MJ debate. Floyd or Bud? Who you guys got? And I think if they were to fight each other, I would pick Floyd. Because Floyd's too fast. Too fast. Floyd, right? I was thinking the same thing. The reflexes is crazy. Like if you look at Floyd reflexes and speed, he was literally one of the fastest people out there. Like Manny Pacquiao fast, But the difference between him and Manny Pacquiao, he'll pop shot you to death. All day with the straight right hand. Check hooks, straight right hands, jabs. But one at a time, he was not throwing no combinations. And I don't think Bub would be able to see him. His feet was too good. His feet was definitely too good. Floyd, and you know what's crazy? They could still have the exhibition if they chose to. If Bud Crawford retires right now, they're gonna have an exhibition with Floyd Money Mayweather versus Terrence Bud Crawford. And that'll be great because people will actually pay for that. People will actually pay for that. Man, people are gonna pay for the Tank Paul and Jake Paul fight. Tank versus Paul fight. Of course, they will pay for Crawford versus Floyd. Easily. You got Floyd. Who else got Floyd here? Who else got Floyd versus Bud? I want to jot down, who would think Bud would win and who would think Floyd would win. And let me hear your argument. Because you have to be able to, say like what does Bud bring to the table that could actually beat someone like Floyd? See, we didn't see this. We didn't see this, Canelo. I'm sure. I'm putting this up right now. We didn't see this, Canelo. We didn't see this, Canelo.
Everybody talks about Canelo's power, the knockouts, the body shots. But what really makes him a better boxer is his defense. The slips, the rolls, the blocks, the counters. It's like watching someone play dodgeball with gloves on.
Where was that
Canelo defensive showcases are some of the slickest in modern boxing. And today, we're breaking down the performances that prove that he's more than just a puncher. He's a better boxer.
Look at that. Look at that twist. Look at that. Where was that, Canelo?
Everybody thought Charlo's speed and slickness will give Canelo problems. But what happened? Charlo looked frozen. He threw over 400 punches and landed less than 80. That's under 20% connect rate. Every time Charlo jabbed, Canelo slipped, blocked, or rolled it off the shoulder. His defense shut Charlo down so bad that by the middle of the rounds, Charlo was basically surviving. This fight showed Canelo can take away an elite boxer's weapon and make him look ordinary. And if you think that was impressive, let's take it back when young Canelo outboxed one of the slickest softballs in the game.
Canelo versus Trout.
Against Austin
Where was this
Trout,
Canelo at?
man, that was young Canelo. Still
What
in
was
his
the
early
counter?
20s, stepping up against a slick southpaw technician
Look
in
at the
Austin
uppercut right
Trout.
there. That was sick.
Everybody thought Trout's jab and movement
That
would
was the real Canelo. What we saw last week was not the real Canelo. This
confuse
is the
him.
real Canelo.
But Canelo
Prime
proved he
Canelo.
was more than just a brawler. Trout threw over 700 punches, but only landed 20%. Canelo was patient, slipped shots, and then exploded with clean counters. Boom! And don't forget, he scored a knockdown with a perfect straight right hand. For a young fighter to outbox a crafty veteran like Trout, that was a night people realized Canelo could really box.
This was the real prime Canelo, you know?
But if outclassing Trout showed potential, their
Triple G
rematch with Triple G
still
showed
had it all
evolution
in the tank.
and silenced all the critics.
Again, look at that pullback.
The first fight had people saying Canelo ran, Canelo lost. So in the rematch, he stood his ground against the boogeyman of boxing. Triple G threw over 700 punches, and Canelo neutralized a lot of that with subtle defense. Slips,
I didn't see not one counter that night. I didn't see not one counter from Canelo.
rolls, high guard. Triple G only landed 20% of his punches, while Canelo landed over 30% with the heavier and cleaner shots. He wasn't backing up like the first fight. He was taking the fight to Triple G, blocking jabs and countering with sharp combinations. This was Canelo proving that he can be an all-time great fighter at his own game. And speaking of all-time greats, let's talk about the night Canelo outboxed one of the best jabbers in boxing history, Miguel Cotto.
We didn't see one counter from Canelo versus Crawford. Not even one counter. Dude had sick head movement. Great counter puncher. Not one counter.
Cotto was a legend with one of the best jabs in boxing, and Canelo took it away from him. Cotto threw over 600 punches, but landed only 20%. Meanwhile, Canelo was connecting nearly 40% of his power shots. Every time Cotto tried to establish the jab, Canelo read it, flipped inside, and countered with heavy hooks. This was a masterclass in timing and composure, beating a Hall of Fame technician with superior skill. People expected Cotto to outbox the younger man, but it was Canelo who schooled the master. And if beating Cotto proved his maturity, then the Jacobs fight proved his complete skill set against size, speed, and style. Jacob was big, athletic, and skilled. Some thought he'd be too much for Little Nello. He even switched southpaw to give different looks. Threw over 600 punches, but still landed under 20%, while Canelo
That's Brian Norman Jr. right there. Getting ready for Devin Haney. Look at that leg work. Look at that leg work. Devin Haney in trouble. Devin Haney's in trouble. When you have a guy who has fast feet, it's one thing to be a power puncher and be slow, have slow feet. It's one thing to be a power puncher with fast feet. And Devin Haney's going to find out what it is to face someone who could be able to cut off the ring, punch hard, have good head movement, still be defensively responsible, and fight all night like that. That is a tough fight for Devin Haney. I'm looking forward to that. And I got Devin Haney taking his second loss, aka his first loss. He might be able to pull this off because he does have better opposition and resume. But when you're fighting someone who's younger and hungrier and who's also athletically gifted, it's going to be a problem for Devin Haney. And he doesn't have enough punching power to keep him at bay. He doesn't have enough punching power to keep Brian Norman Jr. at bay, and it's going to come back and really haunt him. Who you guys got in that fight, Brian or Haney? I think you said what, KO, right? Early. You don't think he could drop him in the second half of the fight? I think he could. I think he could. Anyways, let's watch another one. Let's watch another video. What you thought about this guy's performance? Where is it? Go ahead. Lester Martinez. He was also close. He fought Billy. He thought he deserved to draw. I thought he lost. Against Billy. What do you guys think? This kid's huge, bro. This kid's huge. He's huge. Let's watch that again. He's huge. And I think he needs to know how to fight off the back foot, and he'll be a problem. Because he doesn't know how to go forward. That fight, he needed to be able to move back and create some distance to be able to hurt this guy. Billy. Lester Martinez, guys. Well, anyways. I'm going to let you guys go. Got to go back to work now. They talk the talk. We bring the facts. The hype so loud. Shake the stats.